For 11 years of my life, my mother forced my twin brother and me to pretend we were conjoined twins. We wore a specially made harness connecting us at the torso, shuffled everywhere together, performed disability for strangers who handed us cash and sympathy. The lie consumed my childhood and teenage years, twisted my identity into something unrecognizable. I am 32 years old now, finally free, and ready to tell the truth about what really happened. And the worst part? Nobody believed me when I tried to expose her. My name is Leonard, and this story begins when I was 8 years old, living in a small town outside Columbus, Ohio. Back then, life was normal. My twin brother Travis and I were fraternal twins. We looked similar, sure, with the same brown hair and hazel eyes our dad gave us, but we were clearly two separate people. We had separate beds, separate friends, separate everything. Travis loved baseball. I loved drawing. We fought over the remote control and traded lunches at school like any other brothers. Our father, David, died when Travis and I were 7. Workplace accident at a construction site. A beam fell wrong, and just like that, he was gone. Mom, Diane, received some life insurance money, maybe $40,000, but it disappeared fast. Funeral costs, mortgage payments, regular bills. She worked at a grocery store as a cashier, pulling extra shifts, but the money was never enough. I remember her crying at the kitchen table late at night, surrounded by bills, calculator in hand, looking defeated. Before everything changed, I have happy memories. Mom made us pancakes on Saturday mornings. We went to the community pool in summer. She tucked us in at night and told us stories about Dad, keeping his memory alive. Travis and I shared a room, bunk beds, and we would talk in the dark about kid stuff, what we wanted to be when we grew up, whether aliens were real. Normal brother conversations. Everything shifted about 6 months after Dad died. Mom became obsessed with a news story about conjoined twins in California who were receiving massive donations and support from their community. Hundreds of thousands of dollars raised. Free medical care. Celebrities visiting them. The whole country rallied around these kids. Mom started making comments. Strange ones. People care about special cases, she would say, staring at the television. Regular kids do not get help. We are invisible. She researched conjoined twins online constantly. I would walk into the living room and find her watching videos, reading articles, taking notes. Travis and I thought it was weird, but did not think much of it. Adults did weird things when they were sad. Then Mom lost her job. The grocery store cut staff, and she was let go. Unemployment barely covered anything. Money got tighter. We ate pasta 4 nights a week. The heat got turned down in winter. Mom's desperation grew like a living thing in our house, filling every room with tension. One night in February, freezing cold outside, Mom sat Travis and me down at the kitchen table. She had this look in her eyes. Excited but scared. She said she had an idea, a way to solve all our problems. She presented it like a game, like make-believe. We would pretend to be conjoined twins, just for a little while, just until we got back on our feet financially. People would help us, donate money. We could keep the house, have food, be okay. She showed us something she had been working on, a handmade harness made from fabric and Velcro straps. It wrapped around both our torsos, connected us at the side, made it look like we shared tissue. She had put so much detail into it. Padding to make it comfortable. A design that looked medical, under clothes. I felt sick. This was wrong. Lying was wrong. Pretending to have a disability was horrible. I told her no. I said we could not do this. But Mom got tears in her eyes. She grabbed my hands. "Don't you want to help Mommy?" she asked. "Don't you love me? Your daddy would want you to help the family. He would be so disappointed if you let us lose everything." Travis looked scared and confused, but he nodded. He was always more compliant than me, always the one who wanted to make Mom happy. "It's just pretend, Leonard," he said. "Just for a little while," Mom promised. Swore on Dad's grave. This was temporary. Just until she found another job. Just until we had a cushion. Maybe a few months. Then we could go back to normal. She made it sound reasonable. made me feel selfish for hesitating. I agreed. I was 8 years old. What else could I do? The first performance happened 3 days later. Mom dressed us in the harness, under oversized hoodies. We practiced walking together, coordinating our steps. She drove us to a busy shopping mall parking lot an hour away from our town where nobody knew us. She held a cardboard sign that read, "Medical bills for conjoined twins. Please help." I wanted to disappear. Wanted the ground to swallow me. Travis squeezed my hand. We stood there connected, while strangers stopped and stared. Some walked past, but many approached. Their faces changed when they saw us. Pity, sympathy, tears. A woman in a business suit gave us $200. A man gave us 50 and said he would pray for us. An elderly couple gave us 100 and hugged Mom. People asked questions. Mom had answers ready. We were born connected. Surgery to separate us failed. Doctors had to reconnect us. More surgeries needed. Bills were crushing us. Each lie came out of her mouth smooth as silk. By the end of the day, we had collected over $800, cash, in one day. More than Mom made in 2 weeks at the grocery store. I saw the gleam in her eyes as she counted it in the car. That calculating, hungry look. And I knew, even at 8 years old, that this would not be temporary. That night, Mom made a big dinner. Steak. Real steak. She was happy, energized. After we ate, she sat us down again. She said she had good news. We were not going back to school. She would homeschool us instead, to protect our privacy, to keep us safe from bullies who might not understand our condition. She had already contacted local news stations about our story. They wanted to interview us next week. I tried to protest. School was my escape. My friends were there. But Mom silenced me with a look. "You want us to be homeless, Leonard? You want to lose our house? This is the only way. Stop being selfish." Travis looked at me with frightened eyes, but stayed silent. I realized in that moment that I was trapped. We both were. And this nightmare was just beginning. 6 months passed. Travis and I were 9 years old, but our childhood was gone. The local news station ran our story. Brave conjoined twins fight through adversity. Mom had perfected our fake medical history by then. She had forged documents, medical records that looked official. She printed them on fancy paper, used medical terminology she learned online. She even created fake doctor names and hospital letterheads. We did television interviews. I was forced to smile, to recite the lies Mom had drilled into us. "What's it like being connected to your brother?" the reporter asked. I said what Mom told me to say. "It's all I've ever known. Travis is my best friend. We do everything together." The lies tasted like poison. The community rallied around us. Fundraisers at local churches, bake sales. Donation jars appeared at businesses all over our county, with our picture on them. Help Leonard and Travis. Money flowed in. Thousands of dollars monthly. Checks in the mail. Cash donations. Online transfers. Mom quit looking for real work. Why would she? This was easier. More profitable. We were her job now, her source of income. She managed our image like a business. Posted on social media constantly. Photos of us doing homework together, eating together, sleeping in the same bed. She wrote captions about how brave we were, how hard life was, how grateful she felt for community support. Travis and I spent every waking hour connected by that harness. We could not take it off. Not during the day, not at night. We slept in the same bed, our bodies pressed together, the harness straps digging into our skin. Using the bathroom was humiliating. Mom had designed an elaborate privacy curtain system, but nothing could make it dignified. My identity started dissolving. I stopped feeling like Leonard. I felt like half of something. Leonard and Travis. The conjoined twins. Never just me. Travis felt it too, though he did not talk about it. His personality changed. He became quieter, more withdrawn. Or maybe he was just becoming whoever Mom needed him to be. Mom created fake medical appointments. Her old high school friend, a woman named Paula, played the role of our specialist doctor. Paula had no medical training, but she wore a white coat and used a stethoscope. Mom took videos of these fake appointments, posted them online. Another checkup with Dr. Martinez. The boys are so brave. All lies. All fabricated. She created a GoFundMe page. The donations poured in. $50,000 in 3 months. Then 75,000. Then over 100,000. I watched the number climb on the computer screen. Each dollar was a chain around my neck. Mom bought a bigger house. 4 bedrooms in a nicer neighborhood. New furniture. A new car. Expensive clothes for herself. But Travis and I still wore the same shabby, oversized clothes. That was part of the image. The struggling family. The sympathetic victims. I tried to talk to Travis about escaping. One night, whispering in the dark, I said we needed to tell someone. Run away. Something. But Travis turned away from me as much as the harness allowed. Maybe it's better this way, he said. People love us now. Mom's happy. We have a nice house. What's so bad about it? I realized my brother was brainwashed. He had internalized the lie. Or maybe he just preferred this life. Being special. Being noticed. Not having to face the real world where he was just another regular kid. The isolation deepened. No friends. No school. No normal childhood activities. Mom monitored every word we spoke. Coached our responses for interviews. Drilled us on our backstory until we could recite it in our sleep. She controlled everything we saw, read, watched. We were prisoners in a comfortable house. When I was 10, I tried to remove the harness while Mom was asleep. It was 2 in the morning. I carefully worked at the Velcro, trying to peel it back slowly so it would not make noise. I just wanted 5 minutes. 5 minutes to be separate, to feel like my own person. Travis panicked. He called for Mom. He actually called for her. I begged him to be quiet, but he kept calling. Mom burst into our room, wild-eyed and terrified. She did not hit us. She was too smart for that. But the psychological punishment was worse. She sat us down and explained very carefully what would happen if anyone found out we were lying. We'll all go to jail, she said, looking directly at me, including Travis. They will separate you boys. Put you in different facilities. Foster homes. You'll never see each other again. Is that what you want, Leonard? To send your brother to prison? She made it sound like I was the dangerous one. The threat to our family. Travis looked at me with fear and resentment. Mom moved Travis's bed closer to her room that night. Created physical distance between us even though we were still connected all day. She separated us emotionally. Made Travis her ally. Left me completely alone. Weeks later, everything got worse. A woman named Carolyn appeared at our door. She was a journalist who wanted to write a book about us. Mom's eyes lit up like Christmas morning. A book meant money. Publicity. Validation. Carolyn spent months interviewing us. She was kind, thoughtful, asked probing questions. I thought maybe she would see through the lies. I tried to give her hints, subtle things. I mentioned how we had only been connected since we were 8. I stumbled over details of our medical history. I hoped she would notice the inconsistencies. During one interview, alone with her for 5 minutes while Mom took a phone call, I almost told her the truth. The words were right there. But I looked at the recording device on the table, thought about what Mom said about jail, about losing Travis, and I stayed silent. Carolyn published her book 8 months later, Bound Together, the inspiring story of Leonard and Travis. I read it and wanted to scream. She had found medical records confirming our condition, except those records were fake. Mom had created an entire network of false documentation, doctor's notes, hospital records, X-rays that were actually stolen from real conjoined twins cases online and photoshopped with our names. The book became a bestseller, featured on morning talk shows. Our story went national. The lie grew so big, so public, that exposing it seemed impossible. My hope for rescue died. 2 years later, Travis and I were 12 years old. Our story had reached national attention. We appeared on major television talk shows. Good Morning America, The Today Show. Celebrities shared our story on social media. An actress with 20 million followers posted about us. A professional athlete donated $10,000. The total donations exceeded $300,000. Mom was living a lifestyle she never dreamed possible. Designer handbags, expensive jewelry, weekend trips to resorts, while Travis and I remained props. Accessories to her wealth. We traveled to different cities for speaking engagements, hotel rooms, convention centers, always performing, always lying. I was entering puberty, and the dysphoria of being physically attached to my brother became unbearable. Our bodies were changing. We needed privacy, personal space, independence. But the harness remained. Travis was changing too, growing taller, his voice deepening. We were becoming young men, but we could not even dress ourselves separately. Travis had fully adopted the victim identity by now. Sometimes I thought he actually believed the lie. He talked about our condition like it was real, referred to himself as conjoined without hesitation. I suspected he preferred this life. The attention, being special, not having to navigate the complicated reality of being a normal teenager. During a hotel stay in Los Angeles for an appearance on a daytime talk show, I found a landline phone in our room. It was 3 a.m. Travis was asleep. Mom was in the adjoining room. I lifted the receiver with shaking hands and dialed 911, then hung up. Too obvious. They would trace it. I called information instead. Got the number for California Child Protective Services. Dialed. A tired woman answered. I whispered the truth as fast as I could. We were not conjoined. It was all fake. Our mother was running a scam. We needed help. I gave her our hotel name, room number, my full name. How old are you, sweetheart? She asked. 12. Please. You have to believe me. She's been doing this for 4 years. Please, send someone. The woman promised someone would investigate. I hung up, my heart pounding so hard I thought I would pass out. Relief flooded through me. Finally, someone would save us. The next morning, 2 CPS workers and a police officer arrived at our hotel room. Mom answered the door, still in her bathrobe. I felt victorious. It was over. The nightmare was ending. But Mom was prepared. She invited them in with gracious hospitality, offered them coffee. She tearfully explained that Leonard had been having psychological episodes, said I had dissociative disorder, sometimes forgot our condition. It was very distressing for the family. She showed them documents. Medical records from a psychiatrist named Dr. Raymond Chen. The record stated that I had severe dissociative disorder, sometimes believed I was not conjoined, occasionally tried to hurt Travis by attempting to tear us apart. All fabricated. Dr. Chen did not exist. Mom produced pill bottles, actual prescription bottles with my name on them. She claimed they were for my mental illness. In reality, they were vitamins. But the labels looked official. The CPS workers looked at me with pity. Travis, when questioned, backed up Mom's story. He said, "My brother gets confused sometimes. He doesn't mean it. He's sick. He needs help." I protested, screamed the truth, begged them to check the medical records more carefully. But my desperation made me look unstable, unhinged. Exactly what Mom needed. The authorities left without helping us. Worse, they filed a report recommending I receive psychiatric evaluation. Mom used this as her ultimate weapon. After they left, she sat me down. Her voice was calm, cold. "If you try that again, I will have you institutionalized. There are facilities for troubled youth. They'll lock you in a room, give you drugs. You'll never see Travis again. You'll lose your mind in there. Is that what you want?" She showed me brochures. Real brochures for psychiatric residential treatment centers. Places that looked like prisons. These places are for kids, like you, Leonard. Kids who are a danger to themselves and others. I have doctors who will sign off on it. After today, it'll be easy. I believed her. She had fooled everyone else. Why not this too? She had the power, the connections, the false documentation. She could make it happen. My spirit broke that day. For the next 2 years, I became a robot. I stopped resisting, stopped fighting, stopped feeling. I performed the role Mom demanded, smiled for cameras, told the lies, pretended to be grateful. But inside, a rage was building, growing, waiting. At 14 years old, everything came to a head. A major streaming platform approached Mom about making a documentary. They wanted full access to our lives. Cameras in our home, intimate footage. The real story of conjoined twins navigating teenage years. Mom agreed immediately. The payday was huge. $200,000, plus ongoing royalties. This was her masterpiece, the culmination of 6 years of lies. A film crew moved into our house for 3 months. Cameras everywhere. In our bedroom, kitchen, living room, even the bathroom area, though they promised to respect our privacy during personal moments. We had to perform the lie every waking moment. No breaks, no relief. But something shifted during those months. Travis started struggling. He was 14 too, developing romantic interests, wanting privacy, wanting independence. One afternoon during a break in filming, I found him crying in our bathroom. "I hate this," he whispered. "I hate being connected. I want to go on a date. I want to play sports. I want a normal life." "Then let's tell them," I said. "Let's end this." But Travis shook his head. "It's too late. We've lied for too long. Everyone will hate us. We'll go to jail. Mom's right." That night, lying in bed, Travis whispered something that changed everything. "I hate this too. But what can we do? It's too late to go back now." It was the first time he admitted the truth to me. The first crack in his facade. I saw my opening. I formed a plan. We would sabotage the documentary from within, expose the truth on camera, in a way that could not be denied or explained away. We would physically rip off the harness during a key interview scene. Show the world it was fake. The footage would be undeniable. I spent weeks preparing Travis, convincing him. We coordinated in secret, whispered conversations when Mom was out of the room. We picked a day, a scheduled interview about our daily routine, morning breakfast scene, natural lighting, multiple cameras. Perfect. The day arrived, cameras rolling. Mom was in the kitchen making pancakes, talking to the producer. Travis and I sat at the table. This was it. I gave Travis the signal. A slight nod. We both reached for the Velcro straps. But Travis froze. His hand stopped halfway. His eyes went wide with fear. I kept going, grabbing the harness. But Mom saw. She screamed, lunged forward. The camera crew thought she was protecting us from me. In the chaos, she grabbed my hands, pulled them away from the harness. She was strong. Stronger than I expected. "Leonard's having an episode," she shouted. "Turn off the cameras. Please." The crew stopped filming, concerned, helpful. They ushered Mom and Travis out of the room, left me sitting there alone. Betrayed again. Mom told the crew I had another psychiatric incident. Filming paused for a week. During that week, my world became hell. Mom physically modified the harness, added small locks that required a key only she possessed. We were now truly trapped in the device, could not remove it without her permission. She controlled when we ate, when we slept, when we used the bathroom. "You wanted to be conjoined?" she hissed at me. "Now you really are." She kept us locked in our room except for scheduled filming and appearances. Travis blamed me. "You ruined everything," he said. "She was going to let us have more freedom after the documentary. Now look what you've done." My brother, my twin, hated me. Mom had won completely. 3 weeks later, during a routine appearance at a charity event, I overheard Mom on her phone. She had stepped away, thought I could not hear. But I followed, staying close enough to catch fragments of conversation. "Yes, the next phase," she said, "making it permanent. The documentary money will cover it. Dr. Hartwell, you're sure it's safe? Just enough scarring to make it believable. They won't be able to expose me if there's actual physical connection." My blood turned to ice. I understood. Mom was planning to have us surgically altered, actually fused together somehow. She had found an unlicensed surgeon willing to create scar tissue, maybe surface-level connection between our skin. Nothing life-threatening but permanent damage. If there was any physical alteration, I could never prove the original lie. We would be partially connected, and she could claim the separation surgery had partially reversed or something. She would have her ultimate insurance policy. The surgery was scheduled for 2 weeks away. I had 14 days to escape or become permanently attached to my brother. 1 week later, I knew I needed proof. Not just my word, not just accusations. Hard evidence that could not be explained away. During a rare moment when Mom was in the shower, I whispered to Travis, "We need to search her room. Now." Travis hesitated, but the surgery threat scared him too. We shuffled together to Mom's bedroom, awkward and urgent. Her laptop sat on her desk. We grabbed it, checked the door. Heard water still running. The laptop was password protected. Of course it was. I tried obvious passwords. Our names. Our birthday. Dad's name. All failed. We heard the water shut off. Panic surged through me. Travis shoved the laptop under his oversized shirt, and we shuffled back to our room as fast as the harness allowed. That night, while Mom slept, I tried again. Travis watched the door while I worked through password combinations. Dad's birthday. Month, day, year. Finally, it worked. The laptop opened. I found everything. Spreadsheets tracking donations by source. Over $600,000 total. Fake medical documents organized in folders by year. Email correspondence with accomplices. People who had helped her create false records. And most damning, messages with a man named Dr. Eugene Hartwell. The messages were clinical and horrifying. He proposed minor surgical modifications to ensure authenticity. Surface-level tissue connection. Just enough to prevent exposure. Nothing that would truly harm us, he claimed, but permanent. Scheduled for 10 days from now. Cost, $50,000. I kept searching. Found Mom's personal journal. Digital entries dating back 6 years. I read them with mounting horror. "The boys are my lottery tickets," she wrote. "Leonard resists. But Travis is malleable. I can work with that. Keep them divided. Keep Leonard scared. Keep Travis dependent." She described manipulating us. Coaching Travis. Her plans to continue the scam until we turned 18. Then she would transition us to a new phase. Adult conjoined twins. The sympathy would shift, but continue. She had it all mapped out. I found a USB drive in her desk drawer. Copied everything. Every document. Every email. Every journal entry. This was my evidence. My proof. My escape. I hid the USB drive in a tier in our mattress, deep in the padding where Mom would not find it during her regular searches of our room. In 3 days, I told Travis, during the grocery store appearance, we run. There's going to be a moment near the front doors. I'll cause a scene. Rip off the harness. I've been working on picking these locks. Then we run to the store manager with this USB drive. Show them everything. Travis looked terrified but nodded. I'm ready. I'm sorry I've been weak. I'm ready to end this. For the first time in years, we were united. Brothers again. A team. The day arrived. Mom drove us to a supermarket opening in downtown Columbus. Big publicity event. Ribbon-cutting ceremony. Local news was there. Crowds of supporters. We were the special guests. Inspiring local heroes. Leonard had the USB drive tucked into his sock. He had practiced picking the harness locks for days using a paperclip. Just needed to reach it at the right moment. Spring the locks, tear away. We approached the entrance. Cameras flashing. People calling our names. Mom smiled and waved, one hand on each of our shoulders. This was her moment. Her triumph. Leonard whispered, "Now." He reached for the lock mechanism, found the paperclip in his pocket, jammed it in, twisted. The lock clicked open. He yanked hard on the harness. The Velcro tore with a loud, ripping sound. He and Travis physically separated for the first time in public. The crowd gasped. Genuine shock rippled through the gathering. Cameras swiveled toward them. This was not part of the program. Leonard ran toward the store manager, standing near the entrance in a suit and tie. "We're not conjoined," Leonard shouted. "It's all fake. I have proof." He reached into his sock. Grabbed. Nothing. Checked the other sock. Empty. Checked his pockets. Nothing. The USB drive was gone. Travis stood frozen in the middle of the crowd, the harness hanging off him. He looked lost, confused, but not supportive. Diane appeared, walking calmly through the crowd. In her hand, she held the USB drive. She had found it that morning. She had known. Leonard realized she had been searching their room more thoroughly, must have found the torn spot in the mattress. She smiled at the confused crowd, raised her voice to be heard. "Ladies and gentlemen, I'm so sorry. My son Leonard is having an episode. His psychiatrist warned us this might happen in public. Sometimes the stress of our situation becomes too much for him." She produced papers from her purse. Real papers. Documents stating Leonard had severe psychiatric issues. Recommendations for residential treatment. All prepared in advance. Two men in dark suits appeared from the crowd. Private psychiatric transport. Diane had hired them, paid them to be on standby. "No," Leonard screamed. "Check the USB drive. It has everything. She's lying." But he sounded unhinged. Desperate. Exactly like someone having a mental breakdown. The men grabbed his arms, started dragging him toward a white van parked nearby. "Travis," Leonard called. "Tell them, please." But Travis stayed silent, just stood there. And Leonard understood. Travis had told Mom about the plan, had betrayed him one final time. Maybe out of fear, maybe because he truly preferred the lie. Leonard would never know. The news cameras captured everything. The footage looked like a mental health crisis. Sympathetic murmurs from the crowd. Poor Diane. Poor Travis. What a difficult situation. Leonard was forced into the van, strapped into a seat. The doors closed. Through the window, he saw Mom consoling Travis. Cameras surrounding them. People offering support. The last thing he saw before the van drove away was his brother looking at him with something like regret, but doing nothing to help. Leonard spent the next month locked in Meadowbrook Residential Treatment Center, 3 states away in rural Montana. It was a legitimate psychiatric facility, but Diane had paid them extra, provided them with extensive false medical records, convinced them Leonard was delusional and potentially dangerous. The facility believed Leonard suffered from a complex dissociative disorder, that he had created an elaborate false reality where he and Travis were not conjoined, that he posed a risk to himself and others. The staff treated him with professional sympathy and medication. They gave him pills, antipsychotics, mood stabilizers. He swallowed them because refusing meant forced administration and more restrictions. The drugs made him foggy, made thinking difficult. Time became fluid and strange. He attended therapy sessions 3 times a week. A therapist named Dr. Patricia Sherman asked him questions in a kind voice. Leonard tried to tell the truth, explain the whole scam, but every word he said was interpreted as further evidence of his delusion. "Why do you think your mother would do something like that?" Dr. Sherman asked. "For money. She's made over $600,000. Dr. Sherman made notes. Later, Leonard saw his file. Patient exhibits paranoid delusions involving mother. Believes elaborate conspiracy. Shows no insight into disorder. After 2 weeks of trying to convince them, Leonard stopped talking entirely. Went completely silent. This was interpreted as catatonic depression. They increased his medication, put him under closer observation. He existed in a fog. Lost sense of time. Days blurred together. Group therapy. Medication. Monitored meals. Supervised recreation time. He was losing himself. Losing his mind for real. He considered giving up entirely. Maybe Mom had won. Maybe he would spend his life in places like this. A new patient arrived in his 3rd week. A 17-year-old named Marcus. Tall, black, with an attitude that the staff could not quite break. Marcus was committed by his parents for being gay. They claimed he had behavioral problems, oppositional defiant disorder, needed treatment. But Marcus was sharp, rebellious, saw through the facility's approach. Marcus befriended Leonard during recreation time, sat next to him in the common room, talked even though Leonard did not respond. "I know you're not crazy," Marcus said quietly. "I can tell. You're over-medicated. They've got you drugged into silence." Days passed. Marcus kept talking. Eventually, Leonard responded, whispered the whole truth. Everything. The scam, the harness, the years of lies, the escape attempt, why he was here. Marcus listened without judgment. "That's insane," he finally said, "and totally believable. I've seen what parents do. My own folks think they can pray away gay. Ship me off to get fixed. Parents do terrible things." Marcus had contraband, a smartphone he had smuggled in, kept hidden in a loose ceiling tile in his room. He offered to help Leonard research his case online. They waited until 2 in the morning, snuck into Marcus's room, retrieved the phone. They searched for Leonard and Travis, found everything. News articles, the GoFundMe page, social media posts, and the documentary. It was finished. Released 2 weeks ago. Streaming on a major platform. They watched it on the tiny phone screen. Volume low. Door locked. The documentary was titled Unbreakable Bond. 90 minutes long. Professional production. Emotional music. Beautiful cinematography. It portrayed Leonard as the troubled brother, Travis as the strong one holding the family together. Included the supermarket incident, framed as Leonard's very public breakdown. Interview with Diane crying about how hard it was to parent a special needs child with mental illness on top of the challenges of raising conjoined twins. Travis gave an interview that broke Leonard's heart. "I love my brother," Travis said, looking directly at the camera, "but sometimes he forgets we're connected. When he has his episodes, it's scary. But I understand. He can't help it. I just want him to get better." The documentary ended with Leonard in treatment, implied he was getting the help he needed. Hopeful music. Text on screen about supporting families facing medical challenges and mental illness. It had won awards at film festivals, trending on social media, millions of views, comments full of sympathy for the brave family. For poor Travis staying strong. For Diane's courage as a mother. Leonard watched it with growing despair. The lie was so massive now, so public, so accepted as truth that exposing it seemed impossible. 6 years of lies stacked on top of each other. Every attempt to escape had failed. Every attempt made things worse. But Marcus paused the video. "Rewound. Look," he said, pointing at the screen. In one scene, breakfast in the kitchen, there was a mirror visible in the background. In the reflection, you could clearly see the harness, the Velcro straps, the obvious fake construction. It was only visible for a few seconds, and you had to know what you were looking for, but it was there. Marcus kept searching, found more. Multiple scenes showed inconsistencies if you looked carefully, the harness shifting, gaps between them when they moved certain ways, unnatural positioning. In one scene, the edge of a lock was visible. "The proof is literally in the documentary," Marcus said. "It's been there all along." Leonard realized something. The evidence had always existed, hidden in plain sight. The medical experts never actually examined them on camera, just sympathetic interviews. Everything was suggestion and emotion. No concrete proof of their condition, because there was none. He formed a plan. He needed to get this information to someone who would actually investigate. Not police, not CPS. They had been fooled. He needed a real journalist, someone with resources, someone who would dig deeper. Marcus helped him draft an email to Amanda Stone, an investigative reporter at a major national newspaper known for exposing fraud. They sent it from Marcus's phone, including screenshots from the documentary showing the inconsistencies, explained the entire scam, where Leonard was currently located, begging for investigation. They waited. 3 days passed. Then a week. Nothing. Leonard started losing hope again. Maybe the email had been filtered as spam. Maybe Amanda Stone got hundreds of similar emails from desperate people. Then, on day 10, Leonard was called to the facility director's office. His heart raced. Maybe the journalist had responded. Maybe this was it, his rescue. He shuffled into the office. Diane was there, sitting in a chair, looking furious and scared at the same time. She stood when he entered. "Leonard," she said coldly, "we're going home." The facility director, a gray-haired man named Dr. Morrison, explained that Leonard's insurance would not cover extended treatment beyond 60 days. They had reached that limit. Diane was taking him home to continue outpatient therapy. But something was different in Diane's demeanor. She looked rattled, kept checking her phone, kept glancing at Leonard with something like worry, maybe even fear. She had brought clothes for him, supervised his packing, signed discharge papers. The facility gave her his medications, discharge instructions, follow-up appointments she would never keep. They drove in silence for the first hour. Leonard, still foggy from medications, tried to understand what was happening. Why now? What changed? Finally, Diane spoke. "People are asking questions online about the documentary, pointing out things. I've been doing damage control, but it's spreading." Leonard's heart leaped. The email had worked. Or maybe people had noticed independently. Either way, cracks were forming. "You're going to behave," Diane continued. "You're going to do exactly what I say, or I will have you recommitted so fast you won't know what happened. Understand?" Leonard nodded. But inside, for the first time in weeks, hope flickered. Tiny but real. Things were changing. The truth was trying to surface. He just had to survive long enough to help it. 2 weeks after Leonard returned home, everything was different. Diane was drinking heavily. Her hands shook. She obsessively monitored social media, deleting negative comments, blocking skeptics. The documentary's comment section had become a battlefield. Most people still believed, but a growing number questioned, pointed out inconsistencies, demanded proof. Travis was 17 now, taller. His voice fully changed. He looked at Leonard with guilt and sadness. One night, when Diane passed out drunk on the couch, Travis whispered, "I'm sorry. For everything. I was weak. Scared. I betrayed you. I know I did. We can still end this," Leonard said. "Together." Travis nodded slowly. "I'm ready now. I really am." They began planning in secret. But this time, no elaborate schemes. They just waited for the right moment. That moment came sooner than expected. Amanda Stone, the investigative journalist, had been working quietly for 2 weeks. She had received Leonard's email from Marcus's phone, started investigating immediately, contacted the facility, spoke to Marcus, reviewed all public footage from the documentary and news appearances, found the visual inconsistencies, slowed down footage, enlarged images, documented everything. She interviewed medical experts, doctors who specialized in conjoined twins. They reviewed the footage, all confirmed that no legitimate medical records existed for Leonard and Travis. No hospital in America had documentation of their birth, separation attempt, or reconnection. It was all fabricated. Amanda analyzed Diane's financial records through public donation platforms. Over $600,000 raised across multiple campaigns, traced how the money was spent. Luxury purchases. No medical bills. She tried to verify the doctors Diane claimed had treated the boys. Dr. Martinez, Dr. Chen. Neither existed. No medical licenses. No hospital affiliations. Nothing. Amanda contacted Leonard secretly through a burner phone she sent to Marcus, who was now discharged from the facility. Marcus forwarded it to Leonard's home address, hidden in a package labeled as medical supplies. "I'm going to expose this," Amanda's message said. "But I need you both to go on record. Will you testify?" Leonard responded immediately. "Yes. Tell us when and where." Diane, paranoid and desperate, had organized one more huge fundraiser, a gala dinner at a hotel conference center, 500 people attending, local politicians, business leaders, media coverage. Ticket sales and donations expected to bring in another $100,000. One more big score, she told the boys. Then we can relax for a while. But Leonard knew this was their moment. He messaged Amanda. Told her about the gala. She promised to be there with a camera crew. The night of the gala arrived. Leonard and Travis wore suits, the harness underneath. They had worn it for so many years it felt like part of their bodies. But tonight would be the last time. 500 people filled the conference room, donated money at the door, sat at round tables decorated with photos of Leonard and Travis through the years. All lies, all staged. Diane took the stage in an expensive dress, gave a tearful speech about the challenges of raising special needs children, the cost of medical care, the importance of community support, how grateful she was, how brave her boys were. Amanda Stone entered through the back door with a camera crew. Professional. Authorized press. She walked straight down the center aisle while Diane was speaking. Diane saw her and stopped mid-sentence. Recognized her somehow. Maybe from her byline photo. Maybe from instinct. Amanda climbed the stage steps. Diane tried to signal security, but Amanda spoke first. Loud. Clear. Into her own microphone. Diane, I'm Amanda Stone from the National Investigator. I have evidence that Leonard and Travis are not conjoined twins and never were. This entire operation is a fraud. The room erupted. Gasps. Confusion. Some people stood. Cameras from the news crews already present swiveled to capture the confrontation. Diane tried to deflect. Called for security. But Amanda continued. I have medical experts. Financial records. Visual proof from your own documentary. And most importantly, these young men are ready to tell the truth. Leonard and Travis looked at each other. This was it. The moment. 6 years in the making. They stood from their table at the front, walked to the stage together, climbed the steps. The room fell silent. Everyone watched. Cameras recorded. Leonard took the microphone. His voice shook, but he spoke clearly. Everything you've been told is a lie. We are not conjoined. We never were. Travis took the microphone next. Our mother forced us to pretend for money, since we were 8 years old. We're sorry we lied, but we were children. We were scared. We were trapped. Together, they reached for the harness, grabbed it, pulled. The Velcro ripped loudly in the silent room. They tore it off, threw it on the stage floor, stepped apart, stood 2 feet from each other. The room exploded. Shouting, chaos. Some people rushed the stage. Others ran for the exits. Diane tried to run, but security, now understanding the situation, blocked her path. Police arrived within minutes. They had been contacted by Amanda Stone earlier that day. Were waiting outside for confirmation. They arrested Diane on stage in front of 500 witnesses and live news cameras. Charges included fraud, child abuse, embezzlement, forgery, and about a dozen other felonies. The evidence was overwhelming. The confession was public. There was no escape. Leonard and Travis were taken into protective custody that night. Social workers interviewed them for hours. They told everything, gave statements, provided information for the investigation. The FBI took over the case. Federal crimes had been committed. Wire fraud across state lines. Falsifying federal documents. The investigation expanded, uncovered all of Diane's accomplices. Paula, who played the fake doctor. Eugene Hartwell, the unlicensed surgeon who had agreed to actually harm them. All arrested. The media coverage was instant and massive. National news, international news. The story of the fake, conjoined twins, trending worldwide. The documentary was immediately removed from the streaming platform. The book was recalled from stores. GoFundMe froze the account and began the process of returning donations. Diane eventually pleaded guilty to avoid trial. The evidence was too strong. She was sentenced to 12 years in federal prison. Leonard attended the sentencing, looked her in the eyes as the judge read the verdict. She looked old, broken. Nothing like the powerful figure who had controlled his entire childhood. The boys were placed with their paternal aunt, Margaret, in Denver, Colorado. a woman they barely remembered but who had been trying to reach them for years. Diane had blocked all contact. Margaret was kind, patient, gave them space to heal. Leonard and Travis began genuine therapy, processing trauma, rebuilding their identities, learning who they were as separate people. It took years. The damage ran deep. All the donated money was returned through a court-mandated process. People got their money back. Some refused it, said the boys should keep it for their therapy and education. A trust fund was established, managed by their aunt, used for college and living expenses. Leonard and Travis eventually rebuilt their lives, separately, but connected in healthy ways. They went to different colleges, pursued different careers. Leonard became a social worker, helping abuse victims. Travis became a teacher. Both married, had families, lived normal, quiet lives, far from the spotlight. I am 32 years old now. Travis is too. We talk every week, see each other on holidays. We have worked hard to have a normal relationship. Sometimes it is still complicated. The trauma does not just disappear, but we are healing, growing, moving forward. The scars from those 11 years run deep. Trust is complicated for me. I struggle with authority figures, with feeling trapped, with being watched. Therapy has helped. My wife has helped. Time has helped. But I learned something through all of it. Speaking the truth, even when no one believes you, even when it costs you everything, is the only way to live with yourself. Lies destroy. They corrupt. They trap everyone involved. But truth, eventually, finds a way to surface. It always does. My mother stole my childhood. She weaponized love and fear. She turned my brother against me and made us prisoners in our own lives. But she did not destroy me. I survived. We both did. And that is what matters. If you are being abused, controlled, manipulated by someone in power over you, please know this. You are not alone. You are not crazy. Your truth matters. Keep fighting. Keep speaking. Keep surviving. Help will come. Sometimes it takes time. Sometimes it takes many tries. But it will come. I got my life back. Travis got his. We are free now. Really free. And that is everything. So let me ask you this. Have you ever been in a situation where telling the truth seemed impossible because no one would believe you? How did you handle it? What would you have done in my situation? I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. If this story resonated with you, please consider liking this video and subscribing to the channel. Sharing this story might help someone else who feels trapped and alone. Your support means everything and helps stories like mine reach people who need to hear them. Thank you for listening to my story. Thank you for believing me. Thank you for being here. I wish you all healing, courage, and freedom in your own lives. Take care of yourselves and each other.